If you say the name Beetlejuice 3 times, what happens? Who is this Beetlejuice anyway? If you're someone who loves dark fantasy, fantasy horror, or dark comedy films, then you must know the king of this world, Tim Burton. In many of his movies, you'll also find actor Johnny Depp. But this movie doesn't include him. Still, the film lacks nothing. Today, we'll discuss Beetlejuice. The movie Beetlejuice was released in 1988. Its direct sequel is on the way, but there's no need to watch the previous movie to understand it. The story is completely fresh. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll explain the entire story of Beetlejuice. The story begins with a woman named Delia, often referred to as Dee. She is a show host. The show's name is Ghost House, which involves ghost hunting and various discussions about spirits. Recently, she encountered a ghost, and that experience is discussed in the show. One of the guests starts acting as if possessed by a spirit. In the middle of this, we see a character who frightens the audience with just his presence. That character is Beetlejuice. His face and eyes alone are enough to scare anyone. Dee gets frightened and leaves the show, running to the green room. She starts taking her medicine. At that very moment, her boyfriend Rod arrives. He tries to comfort her and convince her that ghosts aren't real. Later, Lydia returns to the show. Just then, she gets a message from her mother, asking her to come back home. She gets in the car and heads back to her house. Her mother is an artist, or rather, a celebrity artist, who is a bit eccentric and runs a project called the Human Canvas. It's quite bizarre. When Lydia arrives, her mother, named Livia, is seen weeping quietly. Her eyes are teary. The reason? Her husband, Lydia's father, has left them. This deeply affects Livia. She wonders if it's even appropriate for an older man like him to ask for a divorce. She doesn't know whether to grant the divorce or not. Meanwhile, the man has gone off somewhere and is spotted birdwatching in Brazil. Then we find out that his plane crashed into the ocean, an extremely tragic incident. Everyone aboard died. So Lydia's father is presumed dead. Then we meet a character named Astrid. Now the story shifts to a different world, the world of the living, where real people exist, and the world of the dead. We see a French man speaking French, walking and mumbling to himself. He falls into a manhole and dies. He then enters this bizarre world. There he meets a janitor who asks him questions, but he doesn't understand anything. His head starts to ache, just like in cartoons. That's when we realize this strange place is the world of the dead, opposite of the world of the living. The janitor works in this afterlife world. Suddenly, a terrible thing happens. Parts of a person's body lying around start to come together and form a single human being. That being is a woman named Loris. Her body was dismembered, but due to a mistake by the janitor, she becomes whole again. She turns into a devil, a soul-sucking demon, and makes the janitor her first victim. This place, the world of the dead, operates kind of like a platform, where people are either pushed or arrive through some system, like a train station. It's all metaphorical. Back in the world of the living, Lydia boards a bus like a mad person, thinking about many things. She's in a boarding school, and the other girls make fun of her. Delia goes to pick her up and bring her home. Lydia's grandfather had recently passed away, and Delia was trying to call her, but Lydia wasn't answering her phone. At the school, Delia and Lydia's grandmother were watching a play. The grandmother, a bold woman, is an artist with a very dramatic nature. She was expressing her grief theatrically. The grandfather's death really affected her. He was half crazy, and now the whole family feels like they're going insane. Lydia keeps seeing Beetlejuice and gets scared again. She occasionally sees Beetlejuice, and this affects her behavior. Her mother and grandmother are worried. Now, we finally see Beetlejuice in the land of the dead. He is sitting at a table, watching Lydia. It appears he has taken an interest in her. This world also has a call center. Yes, a call center for the dead. The workers there look bizarre. Their manager is a creepy dead guy named Bub. This call center handles all kinds of problems the dead have. Think of it like this. If someone dies and wants to file a complaint, they call this center. There's also a ghost detective named Elf Jackson, who is investigating a recent criminal case. The criminal had escaped and written the name Beetlejuice, but with a spelling mistake, Beetlejuice. As a result, the demon got confused and killed the wrong person. This criminal wasn't a ghost, but a soul sucker. so Elf warns the center to be alert. Meanwhile, Lydia's grandfather returns and has a heartfelt conversation with Delia. Delia loved her father deeply. Though she got divorced from Lydia's father, she still had love for him. Lydia's father's name was Richard. Lydia could see ghosts, but Richard couldn't. Nobody believed her. Recently, Richard was bitten by a shark and died. His whole body, including his head, was missing. In the world of the dead, there's even a tailor shop. She saw the real condition and went to the shop. She didn't want to go to the bar and instead followed the possessed woman. The woman's name was Laris, a soul-possessed shopkeeper. She was possessed by a spirit and wore a bridal dress. They returned home and started searching for Beetlejuice. Well, Beetlejuice is the key. Let's understand the real truth. Long ago, when a pandemic spread across the world, many people died. During that time, Beetlejuice was a grave robber who used to steal various items from dead bodies. And that's when he fell in love with Laris. He wasn't mentally stable, and Beetlejuice was something extraordinary. A special ritual was performed using sheep blood and chicken heads. It was a successful ritual that transformed 5 people into fully decorated spirits. Then Beetlejuice was summoned at midnight by a group that worships death. This death cult was led by someone who stole souls in hopes of gaining immortality. They trapped Beetlejuice and wanted to consume his soul and life. They tried to eat Beetlejuice but couldn't kill him. Later, when everyone gave up, only 2 remained, Laris and Beetlejuice. They built a home in the spirit world and found true love. This love led Beetlejuice to hide his soul and vanish for days. What should be done? Back in the living world, Delia's father tried to sell their big house. The house soon became haunted, and people started calling it a ghost mansion. On the other side, Lydia's boyfriend had been following her for a long time. He kept proposing, and Lydia kept refusing, creating constant drama. Eventually, she told him she wasn't interested. She loved her father deeply and didn't want to leave him. One day, heartbroken, she took her cycle and left. While riding, her cycle's brakes failed, and she lost control. Lydia crashed straight into a large house. It was a big mansion with a treehouse built on top. A boy named Jeremy was sitting there, chilling. They quickly became friends. Jamie was a ghost who lived there. Together, they discovered a studio where 2 celebrities once stayed. One was obsessed with ghosts, and the other with art. Meanwhile, in the spirit world, Laris had become a terror. Every spirit knew her name. Detective Wolf Jackson was sent to catch the criminal. He realized Laris was searching for Beetlejuice. To save Beetlejuice, she had to be arrested and kept in police custody. There was always news about Beetlejuice in the papers. Even in the living world's newspapers, you could see hints about him. You could identify the place where Beetlejuice was hiding. Laris couldn't enter there due to the protective seal. Some employees were tasked with guarding Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice pretended to be one of them and tricked Laris. First, he captured an employee named Bob and impersonated him. Beetlejuice then found a newspaper showing Delia's father, Charles, had died. That was the moment Beetlejuice fell in love with Lydia. Now the path was clear. In the house's basement, they discovered a diorama. From that small village model, they found some old photographs. They saw Lydia's mother and father and a poster of a circus. Zooming in revealed a character who resembled Jesus. Beetlejuice was terrified of him. Lydia often saw Beetlejuice in her dreams and got scared. She was warned not to say his name 3 times. If she did, it would summon him. To know the full story in detail, keep watching. Beetlejuice wanted to marry Lydia. Through a ritual in the spirit world, if he married her, Beetlejuice could return to the living world and be resurrected. But Lydia didn't agree and ran away to her friend Jeremy. Jeremy took her to his street and house. Jeremy's mom cooked all day, and his dad sat and watched TV. He had died in an accident, but still stayed in the house. As time passed, Lydia started believing in ghosts and the afterlife. She saw Beetlejuice appearing through strange spam phone calls. But she couldn't talk about it, not even to her boyfriend. When he kept asking her repeatedly, Lydia finally confessed. Long ago, a demon, a ghost, terrified her family. That ghost tried to marry Lydia, and they barely managed to escape. After that, the ghost returned and wanted to marry her again. That ghost obviously was Beetlejuice. Through a strange medium, he could return to the living world. Roddy warned her not to say the name Beetlejuice 3 times. If she did, he would return. He even said, "Don't say the name 3 times. Because once summoned, Beetlejuice comes back. If you say his name 3 times, he'll appear." That's how it goes. And when they did say the name 3 times, they reached a bizarre place. There they finally saw Beetlejuice, a filthy, terrifying ghost. Lydia couldn't believe it with her own eyes. When Lydia said his name 3 times, they returned home, and Roddy came along too. Back home, Roddy felt as if everything was a nightmare. He told his mom he wanted to return to Manhattan. He didn't want to stay in the haunted house anymore. He even burned the diorama from the basement. Delia started behaving strangely. As we know, she's an artist, and her art was pure madness. She brought a snake home, which she believed was her dead husband. This was based on an Egyptian myth about a pharaoh's soul. He was killed with a snake as a gesture of respect. That was to prove his unconditional love. At that moment, the Egyptian god named Ra is mentioned. The snake is considered sacred. Similar to a cinema dialogue, "My family might be crazy, but if something happens, they'll be right there." Then a new character, a friend of the protagonist, attempts to help. He requests Jeremy, but the request fails. Jeremy appears to be in a romantic relationship with someone. Over time, it is realized that Jeremy was never a human, but a ghost. He is seen floating in the air. Jeremy had died long ago. His body bears a mark, indicating he fell from the treehouse and died. This incident occurred almost 23 years ago. That's where he got stuck. Fernette sees him and realizes Jeremy had been a ghost all along. But Fernette can see him, and Jeremy realizes that only a living person can help him return to the world of the living. No one has ever faced such a situation, directly talking with a ghost. He discusses it with his mother. As she's a ghost expert, he tells her. At first, she refuses to help for various reasons, but then she agrees to help him. Finally, it is revealed that his father had died a long time ago. Esther agrees and visits a large house for sale where she meets a lady named Jane. Jane works as a broker and shows the house. At night, the lady is seen talking to the dead. Jane asks where this is happening. The lady says it's on Jefferson Street. Hearing that, Jane trembles because that is the haunted house number 125, the one that doesn't sell. That house belonged to Jeremy, who had killed his family and hid in the treehouse. When the police tried to arrest him, he fell and died. So now we understand, Jeremy was a criminal who needs help from a living person. A ritual is required for that. Through a spell, he can be taken to the world of the dead. A portal opens through which they enter a strange dead world. Seriously, what kind of world is this? Delia tries to buy some snakes, not real ones, but poisonous ones used in Egyptian rituals to reach the spirits of the dead. But one of those snakes bites Delia, and she dies there. Now Delia is in the dead world. She meets Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice helps Lydia, asking her to sign a contract. Lydia signs it, and Beetlejuice takes her to the dead world. He offers Jeremy a spell in exchange for Esther's life. Jeremy becomes alive, and Esther is permanently trapped in the world of the dead. The ghost detective finds out that Beetlejuice has brought a living person into the dead world. On the other hand, Delia cannot accept her death. She was tricked by a venomous snake. She can't believe it and realizes she has no power in the dead world. Esther is captured by a security guard and put on a train that takes her to the great beyond, essentially heaven. Before leaving, at the counter, Esther sees her father Charles. She tries to call him, but Charles leaves. For that reason, Beetlejuice keeps his word and sends Lydia and Esther back to the world of the living. They face a strange world filled with various spirits. Then Charles, his ex-wife, and both daughters live happily. We learn that Charles had died in South Africa due to a shark attack, but he is very happy now. Sometimes he visits his wife and daughter. He sends them both back to the world of the living. Jeremy receives his passport to the living world and becomes alive again. But Beetlejuice doesn't get a passport. It's cancelled, and he is sent to hell. Charles helps Lydia and Esther, and they finally return to the world of the living. But Beetlejuice won't give up easily. Delia, who now wishes to be with her dead husband Charles, who had died in a shark attack and was given VIP status, is unable to reach him because VIP souls cannot mix with ordinary ones. Beetlejuice now begins searching for his ex-wife, and thus begins the final moment, On Halloween night, he tries to marry Lydia. But Beetlejuice doesn't allow it, because marrying Lydia would give him power in the living world. He uses a truth serum injection on Roddy so that he reveals the truth, that he was marrying Lydia to take her property. Beetlejuice uses his power to stop the marriage. Then Ghost Detective Jules Jackson arrives to arrest Beetlejuice. Meanwhile, Beetlejuice's ex-wife Lorez comes to capture him. A dangerous situation arises. Esther opens a forbidden book found in the haunted house, filled with magic spells. Through it, a portal is created. And from the desert of the dead world, a gigantic creature appears and eats both Roddy and Lorez. By the way, Lorez is played by a famous actress. Monica Bellucci and Asha were both in Falera. By the way, Chin also hoped for a discussion. It's clear now, all the devils are dead, then Beetlejuice. Why wouldn't he leave? Then the detectives arrest Beetlejuice. Because of this, the Dead World's Code 699 was violated, meaning a rule was broken. Beetlejuice took Lydia to the Dead World in a selfish way, and because this violated the rules, the power couldn't function anymore. Now what will be done? If husband and wife are unequal, then just think, a 600-year gap? Can that be accepted? Brother. And Beetlejuice is defeated again, and Lydia again chants Beetlejuice 3 times. She sends him back to the dead world. Detective Wolf, thanks to Jackson Sy, and then another person is eaten and taken. That's how Delia finally realized those snakes were poisonous. Then she went mad. Delia said the spell worked and the snake was tamed, but then again she paid money for it, and so Delia had to leave. Delia finally understood. So in the end, with her husband, Charles's body wasn't found. It was eaten by a shark. Lydia then started running a ghost show. She became the host of the show and became popular. And finally, she found peace in life, neither ghost nor human. Lydia gave birth to a baby, which was half ghost. And beside her was Beetlejuice again. Her husband was a ghost. She was stuck in a nightmare. We'll know more in the next part, and when it's made. So, this was the Beetlejuice movie story. You said the first part story felt quite empty, so I felt the same. Some questions were unanswered. We'll go into detail. So I think it's appropriate to make the first part video as well. Definitely let us know in the comments.